My son has a new coach.
This
The
is what
golf
I
storm
hear.
has a new coach and
But he's an old coach.
an old coach.
He's
Yeah,
got an old new coach.
old new coach.
A new
Yeah,
old coach?
it's a new old new coach.
Old new
New
coach.
old coach.
A new old coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was interesting because Friday we were getting home and I was picking him up from school actually, and you see the look on his face because he just found out. Did you hear what happened? I said, yeah. I go, what happened? And he said, George isn't the coach anymore. So I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, how come they didn't tell anybody? No one told anybody. But that's the youth, right? And I said, yeah, that's the hockey life, but it's a rough go.
Yeah.
Surprises all the time. So, anyways, it was for a young kid, right? It was a shocker because I remember even the first time someone got traded and a veteran got cut.
Yeah, we
and all
talked about
stuff.
that, I think. Yeah.
It's like it's shocking, right? Because you think it's your team, but it's not minor hockey anymore, right? It's the business of hockey. So a lot of these things, he's experienced all these things, new ownership this year and all that stuff and everything. If you look at it, like what goes through the kids' minds and probably the parents too is, oh no, what's happening now? And
Right.
you have all these things. But we were having a good talk. I let it marinate for a bit, and so his new coach Scott Walker, he's awesome. He used to coach the Golf Storm before as well. What an awesome hockey player this guy was. Hard working, tough, can play.
Tough.
And then he coached, and he was just with Vancouver, and he came back to coach the Storm. And so Charlie and I talked about it, and I said, you know what? Here's the thing, son, and this is like not for my son now. This is for all the kids. It's like as you're playing the game, especially as you go to higher levels, things are going to be they're not going to be the same as they were. It's totally different. So a lot of times you look at so this is the outlook when you got drafted, right? Oh, George Burnett's my coach. This is going to be awesome. He's been around a long time. He's experienced and all that kind of stuff, and never even thinking that wouldn't be his coach for the next 4 years. Right. And that happens all the time. Eric Wellwood and I talked about that when he was working here last couple summers. And he was saying how, in junior, you're probably going to get, if you play for 4 years, probably going to have at least 3 coaches, 2 to 3 coaches minimum. Right. And that happens in the NHL and stuff too.
Yeah, and if not the head coach, the surrounding personnel and all that.
Absolutely.
Every year it changes. Your teammates change. You have a whole half a new lineup every year.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But it's such a, like, it's, you're in love with your team and all that stuff. And then you get that punch in the head. And as a young hockey player, it's like, oh, is this good or is this bad? So we had a talk the last couple of days. Not that he was worried necessarily, but it's always that
it's uncertain.
Uncertainty.
That's
like
it.
what's going to happen? Will the coach like me? Will George be around? Because he's got a huge soft spot for George, right? Even though George is like rough and gruff and
hard ass,
old school and stuff, but there's a love and a hate for him, right? That's hockey, right? So as we talked, I said, well, here's the thing that I know. Here's the thing I know. Your new coach knows hockey inside out. He's very, very good at what he does. He's intense and actually you play a similar game that he did, so that might be good, but that's irrelevant right now. But because I said the bottom line is that doesn't matter who your coach is. You don't even have a choice, right?
Exactly.
But it doesn't even matter who your coach is. You just have to play. So the other thing is that if you are going to go play in the NHL, if you play for 5 years, you're going to have more than one coach. But the thing is, if you play 4 years of junior and have the same coach, I'm not saying this is bad, but if you have one style coach one certain way, and maybe he's a really good communicator, right? And you play for this really good communicator, and then you get a coach in the NHL that doesn't say 2 words, just do this, do that, and he's
Brent Sutter.
Okay, there you go, Sutter. Yeah. You get that, and it's all of a sudden it's a shock to you, and you've never had that experience before. And it's like, oh, I don't know how to handle this, or vice versa. Anyways, my point is that it's a really good thing in my mind that you have an excellent coach, a new excellent coach with a new energy and what new ideas
just came from different.
Yeah, for sure it'll be different. It's good, but it doesn't matter.
That's right.
So the rumor is that he likes to skate guys. I go, good, because that's what you do in the NHL. You have to skate, like all these things. So the harder it is in junior for you, the better it'll be later on.
That's right.
And to experience different voices, different styles and all that kind of stuff is only going to make you a more rounded person.
Yep.
And maybe he won't like you. But the one thing that you can control of everything is how you play. And that's what I say to the kids all the time. It's like all the stuff doesn't matter. All you can do is what you can do. Stay in the moment. Do who you are, what you are. Play hard and do what the coach says.
Yeah.
And you do it as hard as you can. And that's how you have success in hockey, because things are never the same.
Right. I think that's a really good point about as you get to higher levels, you start to take the minor hockey. Like there's no shielding you from the business part now,
No,
right? So well, why didn't they tell us? It's like because they don't owe you any explanation. Like
no,
you work for them.
that's
Like
right.
that's that's what it is.
That's
They
right.
can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
A side note to that though, I would love to be at some point in that room, like in the management room when they're making decisions like this, just to see like what the thought. Like I'm curious as why would he's coach and GM, and obviously that's a ton of responsibility in two areas.
I think that was
But
a big factor. It's a
but
lot
he's
of work, man.
but he's done it a lot. He's done it before. He's
Yeah.
sometimes he does both, sometimes he does one, sometimes he does the other, whatever. So I would just be curious to hear like how some of those decision making processes go and how they decide on who the coach is and which guy they're going to go with and all that stuff. And obviously with the situation with Guelph with Scott, that obviously seems like it makes sense. But for other situations where they're pulling in someone from the outside, like a random new hire, that would be really interesting to follow along with that. But it's a really good lesson for the kids to learn, because even if you're not playing in the OHL, if you're playing any junior higher level team where coaches are trying to progress now as well, and like these are how people make a living and it's their job and that kind of stuff. Nothing ever is the same year to year. I remember going from my first year to my second year, it was like half the team was different. Half the team. Not two guys were gone. Not one guy got traded. Not one guy got cut. It's half the lineup was different. You know, coaching staff is different. People that are more in touch with the players are different every year. It's always different, and then you learn and grow, and now you're different. The boys that you have on the team, your buddies, they're different. Everything changes a lot every year. It's not the same as, you have your same AAA team for more or less your same AAA team for 5 years, probably.
Yeah, for the
There's
most
probably a
part.
few guys that
Yeah.
change here and there. The odd team will get the big overhaul some year when there's a bunch of new players, whatever. But for the most part, you're playing with the same core of guys your whole youth hockey, right? So it's a very good lesson to understand, because you're going to get hit with that uncertainty, because it's going to change your coach, your GM, whoever's calling the shots. It changes all the time. And for like, just for me as an example, I know it was the same thing. I played on two different junior teams. I had one, two, three different coaches, three different head coaches, two or three different general managers, and a whole bunch of different assistant coaches and player coaches, development coaches, skills coaches. Everything is different, So it's important to know that that's coming down the pipe, and it's not something that you shouldn't be able to handle. It shouldn't be a blindside hit that somebody that you didn't realize that your coach could change or whatever. But so it's good. It's nice that Charlie, when he's young, starts to go through it and get some different styles, and he has the safety net of knowing that he's actually a good coach. So whatever his style is irrelevant. That he's going to be a decent coach. It's not that you're not going to learn anything, or you're not.
Oh, he's going to learn.
So
he's going to learn a ton. He's
exactly.
going to learn a ton. This is,
yeah.
The guy is an experienced hockey guy. He's intense. He's passionate about hockey. He just came from the Vancouver Canucks. He was on the coaching the Team Canada U18, all this different stuff. He's very, very well experienced. But the other thing I was thinking about this is when you go into the league, like, so Charlie, at the end of the year, he's got his opinions on how he played, how it went well, how the coach said, okay, so this, and this is good. Fix this a little bit. Next year, this, and this is probably what I'm projecting you as, and that's all good. And then that's gone now.
Yeah, it's all different.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So in your 4 or 5 years as a junior, you just or a pro, you just never know. You can't project anything. So let's just say when it was like a good year, just because the coach just, I'm going to make it work for you, and then a coaching change that could be gone. And all of a sudden, it's like, no, I don't like your style that much. You got to fix this, and this. You're on the fourth line, and you and I don't see eye to eye. And you can go from that.
Well, because it's so subjective.
100%. Right. And then vice versa, right? You could sit there and be struggling, but then a new coach comes in. It's like, I like this kind of player. So the bottom line is you got to just play your game, and you can't sit there and say what you're going to be like in 3 years as a team or what your role will be on that team, because it could change so much. So the thing that I want to just stress with the kids and when parents are talking to their kids is don't get all hung up on all the noise, and just, again, I was talking to a friend yesterday about stuff like this, is what's important now. Stay in the moment, control what you can control. And that's you can work out, you can get as strong and fast and lean and healthy as you can. You can practice hard, you can work hard, play as hard as you can, follow the rules, follow the systems, and do it the best you can. And if that doesn't work, then That doesn't
Yeah,
work. There's nothing else you can
yeah,
do.
and
You know, a
sometimes it doesn't work.
personality
Yeah,
conflict or whatever,
yeah.
or but you can't worry about it, right? Because that's where your stress comes in.